Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the 5 Rounds Podcast, the only podcast out there with the cardio for those deep water championship rounds. I am Mags and I have just got off finishing watching UFC London, headlined by Alexander Volkov taking on Tom Aspinall. Very British heavy card this week. So quickly let's run through these prelims. So opening the card was Mohamed Mccann making his UFC debut. A lot of hype about this guy being called the next Habib. He ended with a first round submission of Cody Durden after only 58 seconds, and that seems to be a popular running theme throughout this show. Next we had in the bantamweight division a decision for Jack Shaw over Timo Valiev. Next up was Paul Craig. He got the first round sub against Nikita Krylov in a brutal fight. Another first round finish for Sergey Pavlovich of Shamil Abdurakhmanov. Then we ended the prelims with another first round finish, this time a sub by Mccann and Mccann over Britain's Mark Grundy. Ended in less than a minute. So let's get into this main card. 6 fights on this main card, and like I said, very heavily British. We started the night with Jar Herbert taking on Ilia Topuria. Great start for Herbert. The crowd massively behind Jar, and that really kind of gave him a boost in this first round, landing some big shots. Gets Topuria down to the canvas pretty quickly, and it looked like Jar Herbert had the best of Ilia in this fight. Ilia was able to quickly regain his composure, attempted the takedown. Herbert sprawled it but got pushed up against the cage, and then a little bit of control by Topuria eventually does manage to wrestle him to the ground, and Topuria ends up in side control, but Herbert easily in guard. We see Topuria attempt to pass, but Herbert one step ahead of him all the way through, and is eventually able to push off and get back to his feet. Then get him back to striking, and he was so good. There was a little break in the action when Topuria's mouthpiece came out. Mark Goddard stopped the fight. Herbert landed a good knee, which knocked the mouthpiece out again, and he finishes the fight with a nice little combo of punches. He finishes the round, with a nice little combo of punches. Second round, and he was hoping to maybe capitalise on that. Unfortunately, it just didn't go his way. He started to absorb a little bit of pressure from Topuria, looks for a left kick, missed, follows up with a couple of jabs which barely make contact, and then lands a really decent right hand, but then we see an overhand right from Topuria, and that really starts to wobble Herbert. He backs up towards the fence. Topuria lands a right and a left to the body, lands another one to the head, and Herbert is clean sparked out. Really good comeback victory for Ilia Topuria there, and not a good start for the Brits on this main card. But Topuria still unbeaten in his UFC and MMA career, making lengthy strides in that lightweight division. Next on the card, we had Luana Carolina taking on Meatball Molly Mccann. Lots and lots of love for Molly from this crowd. It was a very partisan crowd, believe me. And Mccann, she looked like she wanted to kill Luana Carolina. Just from the get-go, lands a decent leg kick. Carolina goes for the knee to the body, and Mccann lands a big right hand that stuns Carolina and then just doesn't give up, swarming for the punches. Carolina rocked multiple times in this round, and every time she gets a breakaway, Mccann is just chasing her back down. Eventually, we see Mccann just landing these big shots. The right hand was finding its target pretty much every single time. Carolina attempts to kind of negate that with some clinching, which kind of gives her a little bit of breathing space, but Mccann is always trying to push off and land those big shots. Carolina goes for a jumping knee, which Molly blocks, and then wags a finger at Carolina, which was hilarious. And then going towards the end of the round, Mccann really starts turning up the pace again and really kind of throwing the huge number of combinations. The output was just phenomenal by Mccann. To me, I felt that maybe she had emptied the gas tank in this first round, because Carolina did survive a lot of this, even though she was rocked multiple times. But my worries for Mccann were put to an end when you see her attempting a spinning heel kick and then a Muhammad Ali shuffle. Really, really good. She ends the round again with another massive right hand. Second round, a lot of the same stuff. Quickly trading, striking, getting clinched up against the cage. Carolina landed a little bit more in this round. She ended up getting a good knee through the middle. Mccann actually, for me, went with a wrong mindset, I suppose, when she went for a takedown. Got side control, but this isn't where she feels comfortable. Whenever she's been on the ground, it's usually led to her not winning a fight. But we do get back to the feet, and Mccann starts going back with those punches. Her cardio was just absolutely phenomenal in this fight. Carolina still finding a lot of success with those knees, and there were a couple of shots where she looked to really slam her knee into Mccann's head. Then Mccann lifts up Carolina just as the horn sounds for the big body slam, going into the third. And yeah, this was do or die for Carolina. She was being totally dominated, and the only thing that really could have finished Molly Mccann off was that cardio, but she really put my fears to bed, because she came out and she really started absorbing some really good pressure from Carolina in the beginning, and then was able to slow her down and turn up her own pressure, landing some big shots. Carolina hit back with some of her own, and as she went go in for the clinch, Mccann did a spinning back. I thought it was a spinning back fist, but the replay actually shows that it's a spinning back elbow. Lands clean to the jaw, and Carolina is on the deck, absolutely out cold. Sensational knockout. Definitely a highlight reel level knockout for Molly Mccann, and that must put her in, at least in the conversation for a big name fight next time, because that was just absolutely stupendous and really kind of doing Britain proud. So third on the card is not exactly a Brit, but it's certainly been adopted as a Brit. Gunnar Nelson, obviously, you know him as part of the team that Conor McGregor had at SBG. Always kind of based his fighting career out of the UK, so he may not be one of ours by geography, but he certainly is by ambition, I suppose. And this was a totally different fight to any of the other fights on the card. This was incredibly wrestling heavy. When on the feet, both guys looked pretty tit for tat. They were landing shots. It was very, very even. It's just that when it went to the ground, Gunnar Nelson was just head and shoulders above Takashi Sato. The fight ended up going the distance, but Gunnar absolutely dominated this fight, especially when he's able to get it on the ground. The amount of different submission attempts he went for, body triangles, rear naked chokes, he just cinched them all in all the way through the round. And like I said, when he was on his feet, he was active, he was light, he was springy, but it was on the ground where he knew that he dominated. And the majority of this fight was with Gunnar controlling Takashi Sato on the floor, able to get the takedown pretty much at will all the way through the fight. I've got to give props to Sato for not submitting and for being able to really defend those submission attempts. But all in all, Gunnar Nelson absolutely dominated in this fight. A really well-deserved victory. I think it's his first win in, I want to say, like 3.5 years, but a big victory for him. And putting his name back in the conversation. So in the top half of this card, all three fights, first round finishers, starting with the new British Great White Hope, Paddy the Baddy Pimlet, had an interesting run into this card. Had some altercations with Ilya Topuria, apparently over Paddy being disparaging towards Georgia. Which led to the now infamous Mr. Hand Sanitizer incident where Topuria and his crew surrounded Paddy, and Paddy just grabbed a big old bottle of hand sanitizer and lobbed it before essentially having a little bit of a scuffle. Anyway, he was fighting on this card against Kazula Vargas, and yeah, this was certainly a step up from his first fight, and he met it with aplomb. He didn't start the best. He did land a leg kick to open, but Vargas did land some clean shots. Vargas went for the takedown. Was able to get Paddy down. Paddy was able to defend any submissions, but Vargas was quite heavy, landing some big punches from the top position. But Paddy was able to quickly get back to his feet, stuck up against the cage with a clinch. But you could see his mindset and his movement that he was looking to change this position to take control, and slowly but surely he gets his body and his arms and his hips locked to do a beautiful hip toss. He's able to quickly transition to the back of Kazula Vargas, locks in a body triangle, goes for the rear naked choke, doesn't get it the first time, so he lays in some big punches. Eventually Vargas has to make a decision, defend the punches or let the choke in. The choke goes in. Tight squeeze. Vargas, props to him. He did try and brave it out, but there was no escaping. And he eventually taps, and the crowd went absolutely mental. Paddy in the post fight called out Topuria for a fight, so that'll be pretty interesting. But yeah, the first of three first round finishers on the bounce for this British card. I mean, these British fighters know how to bring it. So second up on this triumvirate of fights, Arnold Allen taking on former title contender Dan Hooker. A big step up in competition for Allen. He's very slowly but surely been making waves in this featherweight division. Currently 9-0 in the UFC. Dan Hooker obviously dropping down a weight to face Allen after he's kind of reached his level, I suppose, at lightweight, and he certainly reached his level here at featherweight because Arnold Allen absolutely destroyed him. From the start of the bell, Hooker looks pretty bright. lands a couple of jabs, a front kick, then eats a couple of leg kicks. Hooker does land some decent shots, and then Arnold Allen hits a kick, and then lands some big combinations that you see Dan Hooker's head just pop backwards, and Allen just unleashed hell on Dan Hooker, just flurry after flurry after flurry after punches, and Hooker has a chin of granite because he was eating shots after shots that were damaging. Really, you could see his brain scrambling before your very eyes, but he would not go down at all. He went into survival mode, landed some shots of his own, but every time he thought he'd survived, Arnold Allen came back and landed even more shots, setting up with knees, then continuing with the massive flurry of punches. Hooker does find a little bit of space to clip Arnold Allen, which puts him down to a knee for a second, but straight away Arnold Allen is back up, swarming the punches, and it actually looks like that Dan Hooker is going to survive this, because you can see Arnold Allen really heavy breathing. He looks like he has emptied the gas tank, but we see that he gets that second wind and starts really destroying Dan Hooker again. Another head kick, pressing forward with loads and loads of powerful strikes. Hooker is covering up against the fence. The referee, Daniel Motherheader, had no option to stop the fight when he saw Dan Hooker essentially turtling, and Allen was just absolutely unloading on him. Massive victory for Arnold Allen. That's a career highlight level victory, massive for him, and it really should do him the world of good in that featherweight division. So, main event time, heavyweight match. Alexander Volkov, UFC veteran, former top level, almost challenger for a title, taking on Tom Aspinall, who unbeaten in his 5 UFC fights, and really kind of taking that slow, patient rise through the rankings. And yeah, he is potentially a future world champion after this performance. He absolutely dominated Alexander Volkov, a guy who has got great fights out of the likes of Curtis Blades, out of the likes of Derek Lewis, and straight away as the fight starts, we see what both fighters bring to the dance, with Aspinall with that great boxing, Volkov with those lengthy leg kicks. Aspinall returns a leg kick, but it's checked quickly by Volkov. Then Aspinall goes for the takedown, gets Volkov on his back, gets top position, postures up, lands a few elbows, goes to the body with punches, back to the head, quickly busts open Alexander Volkov. Volkov does try and turn to escape, but then Aspinall threatens to go for a Kimura. Nothing really comes of it, and Volkov is able to get back to his feet, but Aspinall keeps that pressure on landing those big punches again. Volkov gets a punch of his own through. Aspinall does go for a kick and kind of slips. Volkov lets him back up, and a little bit of respect there. We see some touching gloves. Then a big front kick by Volkov misses. Aspinall slips yet again, gets another takedown, gets the arm isolated, and starts to twist into a straight arm lock. And Volkov taps. 3 minutes 45 into the fight, and it's over. The Brits have absolutely destroyed the foreign invaders. Tom Aspinall has certainly made a massive name for himself in this, and will be looking to perhaps push for a top 10, even a top 5 fight after this. But yeah, a great card for the UK. The crowd were on fire all night. The Brits did really well on the card. And hopefully we will see more of the UFC in the UK, because it is one of their hottest audiences. So potentially a June card up in Scotland, but we shall see. Anyway, next week's UFC, we are back with a big card. Nate Landwehr taking on David Onana, Ilya Latifi taking on Alexei Olenek. Matt Brown's back against Brian Barberino. Askar Askarov taking on Karkar of France. Co-main event is Joanne Wood against Alexa Grasso, and then the main event, a big fight, Curtis Blades taking on Chris Daukaus. So tune into 5 rounds for that next week. But essentially that's the end of this week's show. I want to thank you all for listening. Your support over the last 3-4 years of 5 rounds has been nothing short of amazing, and I really do appreciate it. Go and follow the networks that we're massively proud to be a part of. That's the Visionaries Global Media, that's Radio Tekkers, and that's here at Chairshot. And definitely go and check out some of the content from the rest of the creators in these networks. Absolutely stupendous. Follow me on Twitter at PodfatherMags, or over on TikTok at MagsAllPods. Follow Carlos at Kirby_Carlos, and follow the show at 5 Rounds Pod. Thank you all for listening, and that is the end.
Big time. He's trying to finish.